on pharmaceutical and chemical-related technologies, including those in the fields of new chemical entities, pharmaceutical formulas, polymers, diagnostics. I think you get the picture. Dr. Fannelli has been a lifeline for us over the last several months as far as keeping us up to date on what was going on with the vaccine while it was being developed, its eventual rollout, and we wanted to get an update today from Dr. Fannelli and find out where we're at as well. So please welcome back to the program Dr. Dean Fannelli. Hello, Dr. Fannelli.
Hi, it's good to join you.
Thanks for being with us again. Dr. Fannelli joins us from just outside of Washington, D.C. in his office there. Dr. Fannelli, before we get an update on the vaccine, what's it been like in Washington, D.C. the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's been quite eventful down here. I mean, we saw very celebratory yesterday. That was a huge contrast to what we saw 2 weeks ago. I was actually in the city today. I had to go down there for an eye doctor appointment, and it was just really incredible to see the Capitol. You know, my office is about 3 blocks from the White House, and you couldn't even get. There were fences that were probably like 15 feet tall that were about 8 blocks out from Pennsylvania Avenue. Of course, that's where the street where the White House and Capitol are both on, and it was just, kind of sad to see. So, but nonetheless, optimistic that things will start to get back to normal.
So can you give us your impressions of what it's like to look around the Capitol and see 25,000 plus armed individuals guarding the Capitol?
I mean, it's shocking. It doesn't look like something you would see in the U.S. I totally get it, why we need them there. And as I was driving in, I saw lots of our troops getting on buses, charter buses, looking like they were going back to whatever state they came from, because in this area, and even up to New York, there were troops coming down from all over the kind of the East Coast area, especially from Virginia and Maryland, where I am. So they were starting to redeploy back to their home bases, which is, certainly nice to hear that it was a peaceful event yesterday. But I'll tell you, when you see that, you just don't expect. I mean, literally, when you look at these fences, I'm not talking about a fence that you would think of in your backyard. I'm talking about a fence that looked like it was about 20 feet tall, and they had all these white fence that were checkpoints to enter into this area. They're starting to loosen that up, but it was really just a surreal event to see in the nation's capital.
On January 6th, when the rioters took over the Capitol for a short time, did you ever feel like your safety was threatened?
I did not, because we weren't there. And I'll tell you something, just from a personal standpoint, my father-in-law passed in April from COVID, and he was, because of the virus, he was a career military guy in the Army. He was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery that morning. So it was just a surreal event to go to Arlington. You had the old guard playing taps, the 21-gun salute, this extremely formal event where there was just so much respect for the country, for the flag, and the area we were in was just, it's Arlington National Cemetery, one of the most sacred places, in our country. Then when we got home about 2:00, you see these, lunatics storming the Capitol and just, not appreciating, what these people at the Capitol protecting the Capitol, stand for. So it was just really to juxtapose those two, being at Arlington and then later in the day, kind of seeing that storming of the Capitol was just, surreal in my mind.
Yeah, it's just been that's a great word. It's been a surreal 3 weeks. And then to have, goodness and light and peace and, a call for unity yesterday, we've run the gamut, haven't we?
We sure have. I mean, I'll tell you, it's, whether you voted for President Biden or not, I think the message he gave yesterday in his inauguration speech was just, very inspiring and hopefully unifying for the country.
Yeah, you bet. Well, let's talk about the virus and the vaccine. Dr. Fannelli, Dr. Dean Fannelli joining us. He's a graduate of George Washington University Law School. He got his Ph.D. in organic chem from Temple after receiving his B.S. in chemistry from Villanova. So you know the kind of guy we're talking to here. So let's talk a little bit about the vaccine and its rollout. What are your impressions from the problems with the rollout of the vaccine. So many people disappointed. We here in North Dakota, if I'm correct, we're getting like 10,000 shots a week, which is not enough. Your thoughts on the problem with the rollout?
Yeah, I think it was at the federal level. I mean, what happened was the federal level was coordinating this, and then they were distributing it out at the state level, and then basically it was up to the states to roll it out locally. I think there needs to be a lot more coordination at the federal level, not just kind of handing it off at the state, but coordinating with the state how to more efficiently roll this out. That's kind of the message I'm hearing, that the Biden administration's shifting the way this was done. Now, I think it was really just an incredible feat that we got 2 vaccines authorized so quickly, but certainly, it's equally challenging to get the vaccine rolled out to. We're probably talking about 250 million Americans before we're back to that so-called herd immunity. So we're getting there. I think the Biden administration's, been learning from the mistakes, and hopefully, we'll roll that out, because you could do the math, and we need to get at least 1 million doses a day to get to kind of that herd immunity, 250 million Americans vaccinated by the end of the summer time frame where Dr. Fauci's shooting for. And, there is other good news. There are 2 other vaccines that look like they'll be authorized in the short term.
I want to talk about those other vaccines coming up here in just a moment here, but the new president seems to have doubled down on what they were talking about a few weeks ago, where it was 100 million vaccinated in the first 100 days of the new presidency. Do you think that's a realistic thing?
I do, because we're about at, the last I checked, we were about at 750,000 a day. So certainly, we can get up to 250,000. I think we need some things, and we need a little more coordination at the federal level and a little more oversight at the federal level. But I am optimistic that we can get there. And, as we said, there are other vaccines that should be in the pipeline in the next month. So certainly, once they're out there, we'll have 4 vaccines. So that'll make it a little easier to hit that 100 million doses in 100 days. It is aggressive, but I think we can do it.
Dr. Dean Fannelli, who is a vaccine expert and an expert on pharmaceutical and chemical-related technologies, is talking with us today about the vaccine and its rollout. So other vaccines, is there any chance, Dr. Fannelli, that these other vaccines won't have the side effects that the current vaccines are showing up in some people?
It's hard to say. The safety profiles of all of these look very favorable. The 2 that are authorized are mRNA vaccines. The 2 that are coming out in the pipeline from Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca are a different type of vaccines. They all work generally the same way by basically administering a portion of the that spike protein, or in the case of mRNA, the precursor to that protein, and to generate that immune response. But it's very difficult to say that, whether they'll be the same reactions. The reactions, the worst reactions we're seeing with the Pfizer and Moderna are in a very, very small subpopulation of people. Typically most people will get that injection site pain, soreness. Some people, I think it's under 20%, will get that 24 hours of malaise, fever, body aches. And then a very, very small group of people, I think it's a couple dozen people, have got those severe allergic reactions where they needed to be treated on site because their immune system just overreacted. And that's extremely rare when you think about, somewhere between 15 and 20 million people now have been vaccinated, and we're talking just about a dozen or so have these extreme reactions.
And, that's just like us, though, isn't it? To accentuate the negative, to shine the light on, whoa, these people got sick. So it's very interesting. It seems like, Dr. Fannelli, the people that shouldn't get the shot are people who have bad reactions, maybe have some type of pre-existing thing. Is there any kind of chart as to who should not get the shot?
So certainly, if you've had an allergic reaction to a vaccine in the past, that would talk to your doctor and let the people know at the vaccination site so they could watch you for an additional period of time. That would be an indicator. But generally, I think people should use common sense. Again, I'm definitely not here to say get it before I say it. So I just want to provide, factual scientific information to people. So I would think, for example, if a woman's pregnant or if a couple's trying to have kids, talk to your OBGYN, talk to your doctor, get their consent, your medical doctor's approval, and just discuss it with people. But generally, the safety profile across the board is pretty safe, and there's no group that per se you shouldn't get the vaccine, the 2 authorized vaccines now.
Okay, I don't want to belabor the point or anything, but those that do have severe allergies, is there any recourse, or do they just wait for the herd immunity to happen?
Yeah, again, it doesn't. If you've had that reaction in the past, these are the mRNA vaccines or new vaccines. It doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't get it now. It just means when you're getting the vaccine, let them know so that they can watch you, because typically those severe allergic reactions occur very quickly. So it's not a matter of you'll go home and a week later you'll get an allergic reaction. It'll typically occur, very, very quickly. So they'll monitor you for a longer time if you advise them. So it's not necessarily a matter of don't get it, just inform the person vaccinating you.
Okay. And you were talking about other vaccines. Do you know when those other vaccines would be ready?
So according to Dr. Fauci, he said in the next couple of weeks. Now, I think that's a little aggressive. I would say, Johnson & Johnson, from the way the data was rolling out, it looked like they would be authorized sometime in the February timeframe, and AstraZeneca's vaccine maybe about a month later. But, according to Dr. Fauci, they're moving quicker. The nice thing about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is it looks like they tested a 1-dose and a 2-dose, and it looks like their single-dose vaccine works very well. So that's a big plus, because people obviously wouldn't have to come back for that second booster shot. So that's a plus. But I would say, in the next month, we'll probably see those other vaccines roll out, give or take.
And if there's 4 vaccines, obviously, even I can do the math. Obviously, we'd get those out and vaccinate a heck of a lot more people if we had 4 choices.
Absolutely. And the U.S. government has agreements for supply agreements with these companies to supply hundreds of millions of doses. So they're already in place. So once these are authorized, they'll be rolled out very quickly. Dr.
Dean Fannelli, who is a vaccine expert. You should see his resume. It goes on and on. He's a very sharp man. Dr. Fannelli, we can't thank you enough for joining us and keeping us updated on how things are going with the vaccine and et cetera. You kind of calm us down with your expertise, and I sure appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Have a wonderful evening there in Washington, D.C.
Thank you. KFGO
time is 4:23. You're listening to The Drive on the Mighty 790 KFGO.
It Takes Two with Amy and JJ. Weekdays at 11 a.m. on the Mighty